Hello, welcome to the WOC Inspire Her series, where we speak to women like you and we share their inspirational journeys of their business journey and how they got to where they are today. My name is Rhonda Wilson-Duncan, and I'll be your host today. On this episode, I'll have the opportunity to speak with Deidra Viney, and Deidra is the owner of Express Employment Professionals of Jersey City. Thank you for joining us today, Deidra.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we're glad that you're here. So, Deidra, before we get started, I just wanted the viewers to have the opportunity to know who is Deidra Viney, the owner of Express Employment Professionals.
Well, I am a mother of two, an 11-year-old and a 16-year-old. I am a wife of 20 years. And I'm a business owner, and I've been in business. We're going to celebrate our 22nd year in business in September.
20 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Deidra, tell us a little bit more about Express Employment Professionals.
Sure. So Express Employment Professionals is a franchise organization. What that basically means is we help companies find good people, either full-time or temporary. My office in Jersey City, like I said, we started it over 20 years ago, and we do just that for the immediate area of Hudson County.
Okay. And so then how did you get into that line of work? Because I look at your background and it says she's a commercial lender, and that's like very analytical. So how did you branch off from being an analytical person to an employment agency?
Very good question. So I actually have a bachelor's degree in finance.
Okay.
And so right out of college, I actually was a commercial lender, went through a credit training program, and then became a small business lender.
Okay.
And as a small business lender, you actually have to go out and meet businesses and to help them, to see if they want to come to the bank to borrow money or whatever. And from that, I had an opportunity to meet so many amazing women through the New Jersey Association of Women Business Owners. And one of the things that I've recognized from meeting all these wonderful women business owners was they had a common thread. They enjoyed what they did, they were super passionate about it, and they had drive. And I was like, hey, I have all of those. Why not me? And so I just started doing research. And one of the things that I recognize about having a business is, there's a huge statistic out there. I'm not making anything up, that 80% of businesses go out of business in 5 years. And so when I saw that stark reality, I said, hey, well, what about franchising? Everyone always talks about franchising and always talks about how you have a proven system. I'm a rule follower, right? And so if I can follow the rules and you can tell me how I can make money, then I'm interested. And so from that, I started to do research on what business fits me and my lifestyle that I wanted to have. Mind you, I was 20-something years old. I was not married. I had no children. But I wanted those things eventually.
Right.
And so how was I going to have a business that was going to fit the lifestyle that I wanted to craft? So I went to the franchise expos. I went to the one at the Javits Center in New York City and the one in New Jersey. And I just started digging around and started to see what kind of business fit me. I was all over the place, from janitorial to restaurants to everything you can imagine. And then somehow staffing found me.
Okay.
Yeah. And so from there, once I honed in on staffing, I then had to find the right franchise that fit me, right? Because not all franchises, even within the same sector, are created equal. And so I then landed on Express Employment Professionals. Believe it or not, they're based out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Never even been to Oklahoma in my life, right? For a franchise to be based there, most of them are, based in either the West Coast or East Coast, right? But this one's smack in the middle of the country. And so from that initial conversation with the franchise sales department, mind you, I don't have a ton of money.
Okay.
But I have a business brain, right? And I have a commercial lending background.
Okay.
My franchisor had kind of a deal or working relationship with the SBA that if I got approved by their franchisor, the SBA would approve me for financing. And that's exactly how I got started, with not very much money.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
Well, a lot of businesses during the pandemic have really suffered. So you have in the staffing business and with the Great American Resignation, how have those things, if any, affected your business?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So we actually got hurt pretty tremendously in March, April, and May because my largest client were all not busy, right?
Okay.
I have a car dealership company, car rental company. no one's flying. I had a place that sold, that worked at restaurants. They provided the food for the restaurants. No one's eating out. And so I lost my top 3 clients immediately. So we lost about 40% of our business. However, what you all know happened immediately afterwards is now everything started to come back. So by the summertime, then you can't find people, right? Because now all of those businesses, maybe not the restaurant one and the car ones, they didn't really come back. They came back now.
Right.
But in the summertime of that year, everyone else started to get busy. And so now everyone's calling me for people. And now, thankfully, I never let any of my people go, even though we were dead. We had nothing to do. But I said, guys, hold faith. We're going to just get through this together. I applied for my PPP loan. We were approved. And I said, I'm not letting anybody go. I need you all because we are going to ride this tide. And that's exactly what happened. And thankfully, it's hard to find good people. And my staff is fantastic. I cannot do this alone. And so I kept everyone. I even I hired a sales rep 2 weeks before shutdown. And I said, I am not letting you go because I am for sure I'm going to need you. And I let no one go. And sure enough, come June, we were like, everyone was looking for people. And we were in the best position because guess what? We had people.
Right. And so what's this I hear about your business is expanding? So not only did you survive, you're expanding your business?
It's so interesting because one of the things that I recognize about myself is I'm big on setting goals, right? I'm big on setting vision boards. I had a vision board party last Saturday with a bunch of my friends at a country club, and it was so much fun. I usually do it at my home, but I had a lot more people were interested, and I said, all right, let's do it at a restaurant, a country club. It'll be nice and fancy. We can dress up. And I put my goals on paper. And I've always put my goals on paper, but a vision board, I put down that I wanted to be a serial entrepreneur. In this particular business, they approached me 4 years ago to buy their business when they were ready. They were retiring out of the business of 18 years. And so I said, well, when you're ready, I'm ready. And they were finally ready. So I close in 2 weeks, and I'm super excited about it.
That's good.
By the time this airs, I'll be a serial entrepreneur.
Well, that's good because they say that, if you really want to make something happen, you should put it down on paper and, envision it and manifest it. So
and it's so funny because I'm a firm believer in that. And then obviously just prayers work, right? That was a big thing. It's funny. I'm not a tattoo person, but I had a henna. I'm so mad it disappeared. They said 3 weeks. It lasts like a week. But I had her put a thing on there that said pray because it's such a reminder to me to pray because I had wanted this. And so the office is in Edison, New Jersey, so not far, 30 minutes from my house, 30 minutes from New Jersey City, so still commutable. And so one of the things I also manifest itself on my vision board is I wanted to help women, and I didn't know what that meant at the time. I put in the smack in the middle of one of my vision boards, helping women. And now I'm a business coach for Rising Tide Capital. They approached me. They called me and say, hey, Deidra, do you find yourself helping people? And I said, yeah, all the time for free. What do you mean? You're going to pay me? And so now I'm a business coach through Rising Tide Capital.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm super excited about that because I feel like that's a way to also give back.
Right.
And I sit on the board for Women Rise, and I've been on their board forever. I think I'm going into my 7th year. And I serve as the vice president. And that's another way that I'm able to give back to the community because we fundraise. They do such good work in the community. And I'm sure these women know about Women Rising, and I'm so honored to be able to help them with their mission because they really help women and families in Hudson County tremendously.
And Rising Tide is one of our WOC members as well.
Of course they are.
So tell me, what inspires you to just be so passionate about women and giving back and helping the community, find jobs, because that's really important. But
and it's so funny you should say that about helping people find jobs. That is such a rewarding feeling. I mean, and we place people of all levels. So it's not just your executive level. We'll place someone at a hotel cleaning or someone at forklift driver and everything in between, administrative assistant, executive assistants, so we've got the gamut. And it is such a rewarding feeling to provide jobs for people so that they can provide for their families. But I told you I'm a mother of two,
Right.
and they are my biggest inspiration because I watch them every day. And my daughter, even though she loves to get under this little piece of my skin, that little piece, I show her that too. I'm like, Dana, this little piece right there. She's 11, and she's just my little mini me, and I love her so much. And she comes to my office, and I let her sit in my big chair, and she looks outside. We're on the 12th floor of our building, so we've got a wonderful view of the Empire State Building. And my son, who's like phenomenal, he's 16. He wants to be an engineer, and he started his own business in the middle of a pandemic, and he's been so busy, Handyman Zoe.
Oh, that's great.
And so they inspire me to live and be my best, and I pour into them to be the best version of themselves. And the reason I have wanted this additional office is because I wanted to build generational wealth. I want to build generational wealth. I had put that on my vision board.
Okay.
And so I feel that 2 offices is the beginning. Right. I'm also an angel investor.
Okay.
And so that's, so I'm a business coach. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an angel investor. I've got all these things going. I want to eventually own real estate, right? I want to be able to control my destiny for commercial real estate, right? Not I own my home, me and my husband, but commercial real estate. Then I can control my costs. Right? And now have everyone say, sorry, Deidra, you have to leave because we're going to tear this building down, or we're going to double the rent and you got to go. Right? I don't want to be ever in that position. It's not happened to me, thankfully, but I've heard stories like that of small businesses. And so I want to be able to control my own destiny, and I want to be able to have my children and my children's children, children, when I'm not even here, to say, oh my God, my great grandmother, she did this for me.
And so with that said, what advice would you have for women entrepreneurs, who want to get to the next level and they just don't know what to do, and they haven't started with a vision board or maybe even written anything down? What advice would you have for them to get started?
So I would say what everyone always said this to me, and I never really got it until like last year, as crazy as that sounds. Like, find something you're passionate about. And I remember someone saying that to me, and I was like, I'm not passionate about anything. then I started thinking about it. I'm just to be completely honest, right? If you're good at something, one of the things I've realized that I was actually pretty good at, believe it or not, was connecting people. And that's kind of what I still do, right? I find my staff and I find people jobs every single day.
Right.
So if you have something that you're good at, capitalize on that. If you find something you're not sure, like me, I was finding my way, if you will, right?
Right.
I just went to the Franchise Expo, and I'm nosy. I'm like a reporter. Like, I just ask lots of questions, right? Because what I didn't want to do back then, I didn't want a restaurant, which I had heard restaurants from talking to people, they work late hours, they work weekends. Remember, I wanted a family.
Right.
I was thinking about a family I didn't even have. The only person I had was my husband, my rock.
Right.
We were only dating at the time, and we'd only been dating like maybe 2 years. And he was in a completely different, he's in education.
Right.
So he just kind of stood by me and helped me, listen and be my sounding board. But just find something that you think you like, or just ask questions.
Right.
Maybe a franchise fits you, maybe not. The one thing that I will say about myself is I'm not creative. I have a finance degree. I'm very analytical.
Right.
I worked at banking my career. Even in college, I interned in banking. And so when I got out, I realized I'm not the one that's going to create Google and Facebook and all this, but there are people out there that do that.
Right.
And if that's you, then go for it. Because believe it or not, there's so much money out there right now too, and I'm talking about it from a lender's standpoint, right? Because it didn't used to be like that at all. I used to be a small business lender, and I used to turn down loans left, right, and center. They used to come to me with all these ideas. And they would try to get a bank, and I was a conventional bank. So conventional banks look for conventional loans, right? They don't take real risky things. And I told you about the 80% in 5 years. The bank wants to get paid back, but now it's just it feels different.
It feels now like you're on the other side.
No,
right?
but I'm saying it feels different for people that are looking for funding.
Okay,
that there's much more availability and much more. Companies or even banks willing to take a risk on a small business. It didn't used to be like that when I was in the market, or even when I started Express. And so I would just say, just do some digging, right? Ask around, and don't be fearful of taking a franchise.
Right.
Because some people say, oh, what's a franchise? Not my idea. Look, is money still green? It's still green last I checked.
So what I've taken away from what you're saying is that, they got to be passionate about whatever it is they're interested in doing, be inquisitive, ask questions, basically don't be afraid to take the leap. The good thing you said about franchises, the support that they provided you. So those are good takeaways.
And that's the one thing about franchising is you are really, I do humbly feel like you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And they really hold that true. Like I have to obviously follow certain systems, right, that they have. And I'm in employment, so I have even more systems because I have just regular systems that you would have at a company if you were in HR, right? I have to hold into applications, I have to do I-9s, all those kind of things. Right. But if you're not creative, think of other things that you might do, right? But make a list and find a good mentor. And make a list. Like I said, even when I was looking for my husband, I had a list. Right? Isn't that terrible? I had a list. I was like, ooh, child, he can't smoke. That's not going to work for me.
Okay. Uh-huh. So know what you're looking for. Make a list.
Absolutely. And maybe a business doesn't have everything. And maybe you want to start it from scratch. And maybe you do it as a side hustle first and test it out.
Yeah.
And see if it's a viable market, because some people have really good ideas, but we're not ready for your ideas yet, unfortunately. Or you thought it was a great idea, but nobody wanted to buy it.
Right.
Test it out first while you still have your 9 to 5 and you got a paycheck. Because to own a business is scary and exciting at the same time. Because if it's just you and you have to depend on yourself to provide for, pay for your rent or your mortgage, that can be scary for some. So try it out first. I didn't, and this kind of business that I'm in I was all feet in, and so someone uses this terminology, and I love it. It's called burn the boat. For me, I burnt the boat.
Okay.
I got in the ocean and I burnt the boat because it was no going back. I had to make it work.
Right.
Because I had no other income. It was me. I wasn't married. I had no sugar daddy. No, nothing.
Okay.
It was me and my savings. So I had to make it work.
Right. And one of the key things you said, too, was about a mentor. That's so important because, a lot of people need that support system, and they might have a good idea or might be good at what they do, but the next step kind of thing or the next level thing. So,
and the thing I want to talk about mentors real quick, because that's a real key thing. And don't think it has to be one mentor. Some people think that. You can actually have multiple mentors for different things. So, for example, I have my one high-level mentor, right? She used to be executive vice president, right? And so she's coming from a different space. She's retired. She got all kinds of time to talk to me. Then I have my other mentor that might be good with finances, and my other mentor that's really good with marketing. My other mentor that's a business owner also, that I can go cry on her shoulder, right? So have different mentors. Sometimes it's peer mentoring. I have a peer mentor too. So I have all these different people that I'm kind of calling at different phases in my life. And so you want to definitely find a few people, because the thing about mentors is we're busy. I'm a mentor as well to people. So we're busy. So if you have that one mentor, that could be a little overwhelming to that one mentor when you need them, because they might be out of the country, unavailable, right? And you really need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
But if you have multiple mentors, you won't have that, hopefully won't have that challenge. And then give back as well, because believe it or not, I have a peer mentor with Express. So we have the same exact business, and we talk once a month, and we have like an hour, and we try to share 30 minutes. And I learn so much from her every single month. And I hope she does the same for me. Right. And so sometimes it's a give and take as well. Some months it might be all her, some months it might be all me.
Well, and that's key, because I think that people who've never had a mentor don't know what that relationship looks like. Because I remember for the first time I was in corporate America, I had a senior level person who wanted to mentor me. I never called her because I didn't know what that looked like.
It could be intimidating. And here's the thing. I went through, big shout out to Rutgers Entrepreneur Pioneers Institute. It's a first generation entrepreneur program, and if anyone's interested, I can certainly give them more information about it, because they're recruiting right now. They just sent me an email last week asking me did I know anyone. They actually taught me how to do that. So they had us in a group. It was about 5 of us, and we were a peer group. And before we even met, they set some ground rules.
That's good.
So that example I just gave you about the half an hour, that's what they taught me. They said not one person should monopolize the conversation.
There you go.
You have to go around. You have to decide on maybe one topic that month that you're going to discuss, right? Because we were all business owners. It was 5 of us. And so I took that and I kind of just multiplied it. Okay. And when you do find a mentor, it's important that you set those ground rules up right from the beginning, what it's going to look like.
Yes,
because if they're at a different level than you, like that senior person you said, right? And the same thing with my executive vice president, right? She's retired now, but she's still busy. Every time I call her, I'm like, oh, you are busy. Like, you're a busy lady for a retired person.
Right.
But people are busy, right? Or they travel, they're living their best life. And who am I to call you at, when I want to talk? I schedule a time to talk with her. I make an appointment, just like I would make with a client. I make an appointment like I make with a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
We schedule a time that works for both of us. So now I have her undivided attention.
That's key.
If I just call her out the blue, now it's like she wants to talk to me. Everybody wants to help, but you never know what people are going through at that particular moment.
Right.
So it's only fair to her that I make an appointment, and then it sets upon time that we have an hour, and then just be respectful. Don't sit there talking for 3 hours, right? Be respectful of people's times. An hour is about a comfortable time, and if you need a follow up, let's say it was a real pressing issue, then follow up for another appointment.
Right. Well, that's key. So I hope our listeners took note of that. The mentor, what it looks like, set expectations, ground rules. The WOC is starting a mentoring program as well, because the same thing that you said, we recognize the needs of women in business, that they just need that extra level of support. So that's definitely some good advice. Now, did you have any parting words of encouragement that you wanted to give our listeners before we leave today?
Absolutely. I will say this, that entrepreneurship is amazing. I have been able to leave at 2:00 to go see my son play baseball. I have not missed a recital. I have been there for all those major events in my children's life, and I love it. However, there are some downsides, right? One day back in the day, the fax machine, we don't even have a fax machine anymore, but back in the day, I will never forget this, the fax machine broke. And I was like, ooh, who is tech support? And I was like, oh, shoot, I'm tech support. Right? When the phones didn't work, I was like, ooh, who gonna call Verizon? I gotta call Verizon, right? So those little fun things, I'm joking, but it's serious, right? Because
that's true.
Sometimes there is only you, right? You are your own tech support. You are that person you've been waiting for. And so if you feel like that's you, and I don't knock someone that takes a job, I really don't, because entrepreneurship is also not for everyone.
That's right.
And it's okay to say it's not for you. It's okay. Like some people think, oh, I'm beating myself up. It didn't work out. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay to have a job.
Right.
And so the business that I'm buying, it was owned by a father and a daughter. And guess what the daughter said to me after 18 years of business with her father? She said, Deidra, my father would sell this to me for a penny. I don't want it. I want to do something different. She says, I've been doing this since I was 18. I'm 36.
Right.
I like to just do something else with my life. And that's okay. And now she's found a great job. And she's super happy. She actually started yesterday.
Oh.
So she's very happy because we were supposed to close on Monday, but you know stuff. So it's okay. It's okay to work for others. But if you do, my parting words is this. I will say this though. Don't give up on yourself. Because what you don't want to do, and I always say this with my girlfriends, you're sitting back and you're 80 years old and you're sitting in that rocking chair. I'm going to be on my Peloton, but if you're in a rocking chair, that's do you. You're in a rocking chair and you're rocking. You don't want any regrets. You don't want any regrets.
Right.
You want to be able to say, you know what? I gave it my all.
Right.
Whatever that looks like.
Exactly.
To you.
Well, thank you, Deidra. I
Thank
appreciate
you so
that.
much. This was fun.
I enjoyed your story, and you've definitely inspired me today.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for a successful interview. And we just want you to thank our sponsor, which is Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we hope you stay tuned for our next episode of Inspire Her. Thank you.
Thank you.